I recently watched two films, and two of them will obviously be in different videos, so we're going to start off with the first one I watched, that being Venom. Venom was one of those movies that you kind of go into not expecting too much after hearing all the reviews, especially all the bad reviews that it got. But surprisingly, it took me by surprise how good it was. Not by the story exactly, but by the visual effects, the dialogue, and kind of where I thought they were going to go with it. Kind of changed, but I took it for what it was, and I definitely thought it was a good movie. Was it the best movie I've ever watched? No, not at all. But I feel like it was one of those good movies that I feel like I could probably watch in about a year or so again and still have the same kind of laughs and stuff. The only difference was if I was watching this by myself, kind of just reviewing it, I'd probably give it it was okay. It wasn't great. But I think the fact that I was watching it with friends and we were kind of joking around, kind of criticizing it for what it was, but also kind of criticizing it in a good way also, and also in like a fun way, it kind of made it more fun, and I enjoyed the movie a lot. So the thing with Venom is you have Eddie Brock, and with this without going into spoilers at all, but you got a guy named Eddie Brock who's a news reporter, and he's kind of getting all the scoop on what's going on. And you got this bad dude who kind of has this research facility doing the kind of researching the symbiotes that came from the heavens, and kind of just researching it using humans as test subjects. Let's kind of all go into that for the story. And then, Eddie Brock gets the symbiote at some point and he becomes Venom. Y'all know that. That's what you need to know. Pretty much. That's pretty much the story. That's what happens. And the bad guy has a symbiote and then they duke it out at the end. Boom. That's the story. I think that's pretty much what you could have gotten out of any trailer. That's what you get. But to go beyond the deeperness of the story, more of what I enjoyed the most about this movie was kind of the jokes and kind of what they did with it, how they kind of played off the relationship with Eddie Brock and Venom. I definitely loved that. Even if I didn't watch with friends at all, I would have found a lot of the dialogues of both them together very comedic. I would have found them very funny, and I definitely love the cinematography of the movie. The movie cinematography was actually very well done. Like, I love the motorcycle scene when he's trying to escape from the bad guys, and then Venom actually helps him escape them. I found that really cool. Every time there was almost going to be a really hot scene, me and my friends got clickbaited into thinking we were gonna go there to see something amazing. We didn't. Like, what the hell, man? I came here to watch some... But it didn't happen. Was I actually expecting that? No, but we were joking around about it. I did love the look of Venom. It was actually good, unlike something I've seen in the past from freaking regular Venom movies. AKA, as Venom movies, I mean the Spider-Man 3. That Venom was horrible. Oh my god. That Venom was absolutely trash. And I feel like this movie did a really good job with showing Venom in a new light that we haven't seen him in before, a darker look than just the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3 one. I feel like they did a really good job with showing how muscular he is, and kind of how Eddie Brock is kind of a better guy than he was in Spider-Man 3, even though Spider-Man 3 is more about Spider-Man, not Eddie Brock, but Venom definitely showed this. And I feel like the worst thing they did with this movie was kind of the direction of the storyline. The storyline was pretty good up until I'd say halfway in, where they had some parts that really didn't make any sense. They didn't go with each other at all. And I think that Critical, aka Penguin Z0, said in actually his review that they really just placed, because they were supposed to have a rated R film, and they kind of took out 40 minutes of what was supposed to be in the film. They just completely took it out. So that 40 minutes was probably has to do with the very big story gap that didn't really explain a lot, and it didn't really tell you why Venom decided, oh, I'm going to destroy this world, to then like, oh, I'm going to save this world. And it really made no sense, because Eddie Brock did kind of just screw over Venom like a few times over, even though Venom kind of did save him, and then he's like, oh, I'm going to take over you, and you do what I have to say. And at the end, you kind of expect them to like come together, which it did happen. It's like, they're together. Anyone could have probably told you that. And it's gonna happen, you know that for a fact. But I feel like the story was very much a big no from like a middle to like end area. It just didn't make any sense, but I did like the movie overall though. If I was to kind of give it a rating, I'd probably give it around a 7 out of 10. We're gonna go by 10s in all these kind of ratings. Definitely a 7 out of 10 for this, and I think it's kind of good. As I said, it's more of kind of my opinion on overallness, and it may be because I watched it with friends, it may be because the jokes were good, not really the story. But if it was kind of a movie review, like I was a critic, I'd probably go down to like maybe a 6 out of 10 or like somewhere around there. But I feel like this movie kind of gets a 7 out of 10 for me, just from what I liked about the movie. More of, I'm not really just taking the story into one whole aspect, because sometimes the story of a movie is important, but you don't really need it sometimes. If you have a really fun time with a movie and the story or something doesn't go along with it, but you still enjoy a movie, I feel like that movie kind of deserves some credit. And overall, the movie didn't have a bad story, it's just it didn't really go together too well. You could see how they tried to fit it in, but it didn't really go that well for me. So this movie, for me, gets a 7 out of 10. And yeah, that's it, guys. Peace.